G'day, Chris Conroy here. It's around 50 years since Bruce Harris's father decided that he wanted a different type of boat for fishing on the Gold Coast Broadwater. So he built a big flat rectangular platform. He put a couple of narrow deep hulls down each side of it, and thus was born the Shark Cat, or the power catamaran. Now, over the last 50 years there have probably been 1,000 variations of Bruce's basic design. Bruce put the boat into production in fiberglass. We've all seen Shark Cats in all parts of Australia, and in fact they've spread all over the world. Now, the advantage of this hull form is that, as I said, it's a big rectangular platform, so for your length and beam you get more usable space than in any other hull form. It's also extremely stable, goes without saying. It's easily driven. It can be trailed in lengths up to probably 20 feet, 6 metres odd, and it doesn't require that much horsepower to drive, so you can load it up with your normal horsepower and still get reasonable hull performance. There have been a number of variations, and the two boats we're looking at today are called Angler Cat, and they're built at the Gold Coast City Marina. Now, the Angler Cats are 5.5 metres long, which puts them right in the middle of the very usable, trailable size. They're very easy to trail. You can tow them behind a moderate sized 6-cylinder car. They'll accept engines up to about 115 horsepower. The boats that we're looking at today, one has a 90, the one I'm on has a 90, the other one has 115. Even with the 90, this boat gives you quite a spectacular degree of performance. Top speed is great if you have to access remote fishing ground. The boat will still go extremely well at 2.5, 3,500 revs, and be extremely economical, particularly with today's modern 4-stroke outboards. The boats come up on the plane very quickly. Obviously their power to weight ratio is very favourable. But power catamarans have not got a good reputation for turning tightly. That just doesn't seem to fit in with the hull form. And for that reason I was quite astonished at how well these boats turn. At full throttle you can haul the wheel over to full lock, and they simply go around on rails. A little bit of lean out, but not much at all, certainly not uncomfortable, and makes them far more manoeuvrable than pretty well any other power tunnel in their size range. The other thing about them is most power tunnels, because of their hull form, tend to suck spray over the transom into the after end of the boat. This is particularly true of larger ones, but also boats around this size, some of them, have that particular problem. No matter how hard I tried, I could not detect any fine spray inside the after end of the cockpit of these boats, and I suspect that that's due to the fact that they have these extended swim platforms on the transom. Now, the other thing about it is the floors are well above water level, so if you do happen to get water aboard, and that could happen even if you're just washing down after going fishing, all of the water drains straight out, and the underfloor areas are foam filled, so there's plenty of positive buoyancy. Another thing about these boats that really impressed me was, with small tunnels like this, you quite often get tunnel slap. In other words, they'll go over a wave and the wave will compress between the hulls and smack the bottom of the tunnel, which can be quite uncomfortable. But having a good look at the shape of the tunnel, there's a large wave breaker in the middle of the tunnel, up forward, but also the insides of the tunnel, where the hulls blend into the tunnel, are very heavily radiused, so that actually guides the water and stops it from slapping. Most impressive, for a boat this size, I was most impressed with the fact that there was no tunnel slap, no matter what I tried to do with it. Now, the great advantage of a small manufacturer such as this is that within the envelope of the normal hull and deck moulding, you can order whatever interior layout you want. The boat I'm on is an out-and-out fishing machine. It has a centre console, a huge amount of walk-around space, flat floors, enough room to get your toes under the coaming if you're playing a fish close to the edge of the boat. Lovely little aft fishing platforms or boarding platforms which really extend the utility of the Angler Cats. You can mount rails and whatever you want on the fishing version of the boat, and all you have to do is tell the factory exactly what you want and they can set it up for you. The other boat is a runabout. Again, a huge amount of room and space. You could fit another 4, 6 or 8 seats into the runabout version. They both handle in a very similar fashion, and the great advantage is that they can both be built to survey. And in fact, the scantlings of these boats, their overall design, the way in which they're set up, has already been approved by Harbours and Marine in Queensland. Now, the registered capacity is 8 people, which makes them, again, extremely useful. And the price is around $50,000 on a trailer with around about 100 horsepower outboard on the back. Now, that falls into the lower end of the price bracket for boats of this size and type. But for the amount of usable room you get and for the overall utility of the boats, it seems to me to be extremely good value. Our Anglercat can be contacted on 0418 602 019, and they're available to talk to you and find out what your requirements are at any time. This is Chris Conroy signing off. Happy boating.